Welcome back to Emergency Dating Consulting, a place for immediate change and or development in the world of dating. As always, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. And don't forget to send me in your questions so I can answer them on the show. Let's go! So I have a man here who asks a very simple question, but is really the answers to most of the confusion between the opposite sexes. So he asks, why do men mostly say women are complicated, but women hardly say men are complicated? Right? I love this question. Here's what's interesting. He says, though, because both are genuinely true. Or that's what he thinks, right? Okay. But how can one be complicated and the other one isn't? But we're both human beings, right? We both shit, piss, fart, get sad, right? Pain, right? This is how similar we are. But one's complicated and the other one's not. See, why do men mostly say women are complicated? And we've heard it, all men have heard it throughout their lives. That's like the age-old question. Like, to understand a woman, no one knows. That's insane, right? They're human beings. The Myers-Briggs personality test boils down to like 7 different outcomes, right? And this goes for men and women, right? If billions of people can be boiled down to 7 different... Alexa, how many outcomes do the Myers-Briggs personality test have?
This might answer your question. The Myers-Briggs personality test has 16 outcomes.
So it's over double what I said. It has 16 outcomes. That's billions of people on this earth, right? That's just blatant statistical evidence on how similar we are. No one's too complicated to understand. And the reason why this notion keeps going, and fuel is being added to this fire is because women love it. Right? The thought of, oh, they never know. It's flattering to them. They are hoarding. They are in this group, their own tribe, and they're hoarding all the answers. They don't even talk to each other about sex as men do. Like, we go into grave detail when it comes to our sex life when we're discussing with our friends. They don't even do that. Right? They might talk about it, but it's very limited, right? I'll talk to women about this as they say, what's the point? But really what y'all are missing is the point entirely of why you even discuss these type of personal details. You get to learn these flaws. You get to learn about the opposite sex. You get to learn about somebody in your group is either been through something worse, been through something better, learned from that, picked up something new. But y'all want to hide your flaws because they like what's sticking up out of the water like an iceberg, right? They're just like the pretty on top. So women enjoy this scratching their head that they watch men do when it comes to figuring them out. Especially when you do figure them out, they usually hate it. All right, this is where all these feminists, these Karens, they don't even see what they look like anymore. They don't even hear how they sound anymore. And that's because we help them build this bubble around them. Right? That's on the woman's behalf. Now, like he said, but women hardly say men are complicated. Right? We would, for the most part, say we're not complicated. I think we can, for the most part, agree on that. But why is that? Is it because we're just that simple? It's really not, right? Because we thought we were that simple, right? We're just muscles, horn dogs. We can lift, fix, and fuck, right? and protect, right? These were the basics understood about a man. But fast forward to today, we find out we're emotional creatures. We want to vent too. We want to express our feelings. We want to be nurtured. We never lost that mommy's boy love that we yearn for, right? Women who live with us before, when men get sick, I hear it all the time that we're babies, right? And I'm kind of a baby when I get sick. But it's not like this is unbearable or can't be handled or we're crumbling. The crumbling already happened. But really, it's the reality of the situation. Like, we're shutting down. We're defeated. We got our asses beat. And we're taking the loss on getting that ass whooped. So, but not only do we find out men are emotional, but we also find out that when it comes to our children, when it comes to our wife, right, to empathize with them, right? Sometimes we have to push back this super simple, it black or white perception of emotions, and we got to put those aside, and sometimes we just have to hold you, right? We just have to hug you. It takes a while to figure that out, but it's really that simple. But if we were that simple, that wouldn't be a possibility or a situation that we could handle, right? Really, it's just historically, men have ruled for centuries, right? Because we're on top of the totem pole, if you will, everything was understood. What was to figure out, at least at the time, that was about it, aside from the emotions, and really that men don't have to be strictly warriors, right? We have men, I'm pretty sure that the top fashion creators of fashion for women's clothing are men, right? Something to be pointed out. Why do men mostly say women are complicated, as he said? And we've been saying this about women for centuries, right? But women hardly say men are complicated. And women's been saying that for centuries as well. So these are all older notions that are still existing today without any tuning to it. Right? So that's already your flaw. We need to adjust to the times. Yes, a lot of what we were and in our DNA is 100% true. But we're different today. Let's keep it real. My hands are softer than my father's hands. You know what I mean? Just because he put in that work that I didn't have to, essentially. So, and really, the women, right? Because your mothers put in that work as well, and your grandmothers, meaning bossing her role and doing her job, grants an opportunity where I will meet a woman in the same career field as I do, which would have never happened back in the day, right? So this is that gap between the sexes once again. Women like to think that they're complicated, and they like to say men are not complicated because of, one, how opposite. They love the opposite because it can't be figured out. But two, they think they understand men. In the dating gap, and it wouldn't be so horrible out there, and you wouldn't have online dating predators, the creators, I mean, from eHarmony to Match, prey on this type of, that gap in the middle, if this was true, because it's all figured out, right? But these are billion-dollar companies that's feeding off of this gap in the middle. So It's really the opposite. But that's what I wanted to point out today. Women are not complicated, as they say. It's just we literally spent hundreds of years smacking them around and bossing them to the point we never cared about what was important about them. And for the most part, and women hardly say that we're complicated because we never decided to figure them out. We're always that simple for centuries. We just smacked them around, bullied them, and never had to express our feelings. We hid our feelings. We vented out on them abusively and domineeringly. So it's not what we think whatsoever. The truth is, we are both complicated because we are both flawed, because we are both human beings. It's really that simple. But here's what's not so complicated today. Building bridges, right? I can't build a bridge, but building bridges are not complicated today. We have years, decades, centuries of building bridges. We know how to do this. We have some of the best architects. We can get the job done. We have all the material, all the money, all the knowledge behind it. Now, this isn't a human being, but this is why it's not so complicated today, right? I have had natural experiences in my dating life, and I never find myself in a relationship, dating. I never find myself scratching my head anymore, ever. There's nothing that's surprising. I've heard damn near all. I've heard it all. I've seen it all. I've been through all the basics that you can possibly encounter to get a clear foundation of something. I'm not saying I know it all, but what I can tell you, it's not complicated anymore whatsoever. You gather all the knowledge. We just like to lie, and that's why I highlighted this question. Women like to think they're complicated so they can keep up these delusions and have men keep fucking delusionally following their breadcrumbs that goes nowhere, or that goes to delusions where and they don't want to think that we're complicated. And as men, we like to say we're not complicated. We're so simple. We just like this and that, which is true. We are simple, but we're just as simple as them. But let's keep it real. Not all men are the same. There's some men who like different things, like to do different things. So the complications just go through the wiring of our brains. They're all different, right? And this goes across the board. So this was to really highlight how we create our own delusions and how we fuel our own fire. Us, as this man says, we always say women are complicated. We're doing it ourselves. But when something bad happens to us as men, this dumb bitch, we blame it on her, right? And then we pass on the knowledge to the youngster. Women you just can't figure them out. You just can't And then the cycle continues, and women do the same thing to men. They're all dogs, honey. They just want this and that, blah, blah, blah. And then to the youngster, and then they continue the cycle. They both need to stop. The truth needs to come on board, cipher through that truth, accept the flaws that you have, the dark experiences that you went through, and that you went through with somebody. You put that all together, and you actually have a formula of success. Good luck out there.